And without further ado, I want to start with the first pitch. We're doing it by alphabetical order. So Miia Khan from Eventual. Miia, please share your screen and all the best. You have 5 minutes.
Yes. So Maria and Ram both talked about the purpose. And I think that when we're kids, we're mostly in touch with our inner purpose. So think about yourself when you were a kid, what made you the happiest by that time? And for me, that was performing arts. I was dreaming of becoming a ballet dancer so much that I would fall asleep every night in my bed in this ballet dancer pose. And I think that I still do that because it kind of stuck. And the thing was that my mother couldn't afford these expensive dancing classes because we were living in a small village and it was difficult. But I didn't give up. So I created my own dance concept and made it to the news by the age of 10. Ever since I have walked a long way with marketing communications field, I've been working with the most known brands, creating campaigns and concepts. And now I'm kind of like going back to my roots, to the events industry. Not just because of my inner purpose, but because I recognize that there is a huge problem in the event industry. And the problem is this disconnect between the venues and the performers and the crowd. And I can explain to you what I mean by this disconnect. So meet Fabio. Fabio is this die-hard Foo Fighters fan from Italy, Casena, which is also a very, very small village, where the most known famous names would never come to perform. So Fabio didn't give up. He was persistent enough to collect 50,000 euros money and 1,000 musical performances, musicians, to throw a gig together as an attempt to invite Foo Fighters to Casena. And it became viral. And Foo Fighters actually came there to this small village to throw a gig. So there is a huge power in the crowd. But if Fabio had the eventual platform at his disposal, this attempt would have cost him 10 euros. But Fabio is not the only one suffering. Also, the venues are struggling because it's really difficult for them to know exactly what the crowd really wants. So they are lacking insight on the sales. And very often it is the case that when there is a band performing, they're performing to an empty venue. And this is, of course, very risky and problematic sales-wise. Or think about the performers themselves, like Zoe here in the picture. If they are completely depending on the venues and the promoters, it means that if it's risky for the venues, it is also very risky for the performers themselves. So they are lacking income security, especially in the post-COVID world. So you can see that the current model of the event industry, how it works, it's broken. It's really old-fashioned and it's dated, and it feels really ridiculous in today's world that when we people get to influence so many things, we don't have influence on what kind of content we want to see. So there's a lot of hassle and dazzle, sales and marketing efforts happening before the event takes place, and then it's catered to the audience that might not pay the ticket. So we have a solution. Eventual is a crowdfunding or crowd-led platform for the people that we get to campaign for the events that they want to see, or we want to see. So we basically flip this whole model around so that we give the power for the audience, for the people to campaign for the event content that we want to see. So we basically promise the money in hand before the event takes place so that the venue doesn't take risk, the performer gets paid, and the crowd has influence. And this is a future-proof model all about collaboration and influence. And to this date, we have been working on the platform development. So technically, the platform is ready. And we're working and finalizing our brand. So this yellow image is not our brand. It's just a deck. We're now building partnerships within the events industry. and we're looking into launching in April 2021 here in Finland. And after that, we're ready for the international scaling. And talking about international, it goes without saying that the global events industry is very, very big business, and it's growing approximately 10% per year. And till the year 2026, it is expected to grow up to 2.3 trillion business. So we're talking about a pretty big deal. But what it requires that we are successful in our journey, we're looking for partners and smart money. We're pretty well connected here in Finland, but our aim is to grow internationally and rapidly. So I welcome you to our party, which I guarantee will be bigger after this pandemic than Studio 54 ever was after the Watergate scandal. So if you want to continue discussion, please drop me a line and we can take it from there. Thank you.
Well done, Miia. So first pitch we're through with. Jurors, please, questions.
Shoot. Or comments. If you want to comment on the disco cranny.
Michael is ready.
Hi. Well, as I said, I'm more on the fintech, specialist in the fintech space. But congratulations, Miia, first of all, to the presentation. A lot with pictures and not too much text and so on, very structured. I like that. My question would be, what is or a few questions actually, around the crowd. What's the incentive for the crowd to go behind the event in the first place?
What is the crowd? Can you define the question like?
What's the incentive for the crowd to do the marketing?
Crowd to do the marketing. Well, basically, the crowd is starting the campaigns for the favorite act. For me, this whole idea started with a very personal cause. I'm really into electronic music, and the electronic music scene here in Helsinki is pretty mature, and there is a lot happening. But oftentimes, it's a lot of local DJs playing, and I would wish to see some very special names that 4 times a year that I nowadays get to go out as a mother of 2 kids. So when I get to go out, I really want to see the best name on the stage, like let's say Ricardo Villalobos, but I don't get to influence. It's those taste makers and curators who create the content for me. And then if I happen to have that free night and Ricardo is not playing, I'm not going to be happy. The venue might be empty. So I just noticed that there is this disconnect. So it's not that the crowd is basically doing the marketing, the crowd is initiating what they are really interested in so that the venues know what the demand is.
Okay, and how does the crowd know about your platform?
Crowd know about?
Let me get rid of this, it doesn't seem to be...
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit unclear.
How does the crowd know about your platform?
Yeah, so our strategy is to collaborate with the event industry. So now we're piloting and talking to clubs here in Helsinki. So it all starts with the actors of the event field. So it can be a club, it can be an artist or performer themselves who are promoting a campaign. So basically anybody can initiate a campaign, but we start from the events industry players.
Kai?
Yeah, Michael is still saying something, but I couldn't hear you.
Classic.
No, still not.
Michael, you're gone. Okay, Kai, go ahead and ask.
Until you fix it, Michael, I'll go ahead, right? So my first question would be, what is the business model that you're aiming for? So how do you earn money on the platform?
Yeah, so basically when somebody initiates a campaign, there is a campaign fee that is 10 euros. For Fabio, it would have been 10 euros. And then if the campaign becomes successful, so we hit the target, then we're going to take a success fee of the successful campaign. And then when the tickets are issued, we're taking basically 10% cut of each ticket sold. So that's the business.
Cool. The other question that I have is revolves around the vision. So where do you see Eventual in 10 years from now?
Well, we're global most known brand in the event industry. Let's say that we're the Indiegogo of the event scene. That's the vision. And we see that this is a scalable idea. And if we are successful, you will hear from us earlier than 10 years, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
But we're first going to start with Europe because there isn't anything like this in Europe.
Do you have any plans for going virtual on this? So essentially take the leapfrog, so to speak, into the age of pure digital flows and essentially create a virtual event where I could participate from anywhere around the world? Yeah,
this is a very good question, and we get that very often because obviously this pandemic has shown us that we have such a need for events content that it doesn't matter what are the circumstances. So obviously we are aware that the virtual format is very popular and there's a big business opportunity in the virtual content. But first of all, the reason for our existence is first of all the live content. But basically our platform is not depending on the format of the event. So for instance, if it's a speaker, for instance, it can be a live event, but I wouldn't feel that electronic music necessarily works in a virtual format. For me personally, for somebody it might, but it's definitely an opportunity and where we can also work for virtual content.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, guys. We're running a little bit of time, out of time. Maria, would you like a short question? I saw you wanted to ask. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask
Last
how are the connections between, I mean, someone starts a campaign, so he signs up on your platform, and then other people say, yes, I want this campaign as well. And then how would the venue and the performer, I mean, if someone starts a campaign like you said with the Foo Fighters, and he wants to see the Foo Fighters, well, the band will be the Foo Fighters, but like the venue, how do they come in? Do you have connections before, or do they just jump in and say, oh, we would like to host that? How are the connections between the players?
That's a really good question. So yes, we're basically a matchmaking platform, and that's why we are connecting at the event industry, that we have the connections so that the venues are aware of our platform and all the campaigns that are running. So then we're matching the right performer, the right venue, or even with the promoter. So
okay, so they would basically also sign up for you with you, and so you get the money from them as well then as the promotion fee.
Yeah, basically a venue also can utilize the platform. It doesn't matter if it's a consumer or if it's a venue, they can very well start the campaign as well, or the performer can start it. So
Miia,
okay,
thank you very, very much. Excellent stuff. Everybody that hears about this idea says always to me, wow, this is amazing. And also, Miia, you're amazing. You've got the right background to launch this. You know everything about digital marketing and branding because you come from that industry all your life. So wish you all the best. And we will move